So this is a disclosure video for my 1964 T-Bird convertible in Samoan coral. Right back here there are three tiny little chips in the paint. 1, 2, 3. The paint was recently color sanded and buffed. It was sanded with 1000 grit, then 1500 grit, and then 2000 grit, all blocked down. Now the reason I'm showing you this is in the video it looks like there's pits in the chrome here, but in the main video that we made, and it's actually perfect. It was just reflecting the pavement, and it made it look pitted. And so I just want to show you that the chrome is absolutely stellar. The paint is pretty much perfection. The sides of this car, there's no ripples or waves. It's just perfect. Very factory. There are three tiny little chips right here again. 1, 2, 3. A couple of them, one of them's like a 32nd of an inch, and the big one is about close to 1/8 of an inch, but nobody ever notices those. Again, perfect chrome. The paint is just glass smooth. And then there are some chips. Let me see, there's a tiny little chip right here. There are some chips that nobody notices again, but that one does show from the front. However, when they color sanded it, the paint tape that they used, the masking tape, did pull off some of the paint along this edge, but it doesn't show because when the hood is closed. Now the engine compartment, I've had the car worked on quite a bit. This was built for a museum. It was a trailer queen when I got it. It ran horribly. It was very unreliable. And I've had it worked on and worked on and worked on, and now the thing starts right away every time. It's completely reliable, and I've driven this car at over 100 miles an hour. I did do an upgrade. There is a dual master cylinder here, which is not stock. It's a safety improvement, so it does not lose points in a concours or something like that. The judges are not supposed to penalize you for safety improvements. The brakes failed on me once, and it was very scary. I was doing about 80 up the Pacific Coast Highway past Santa Barbara, and came close to rear-ending a semi-truck when the brakes failed. So it's got front disc brakes now with a dual master cylinder, so it's a split system, front and rear. So if one of them fails, the other one still works. Now the decal here that says front on the front of the air cleaner should be replaced. It's a little bit worn. I don't know how old that is. The rest of all the decals, the paint on the engine, these are all in absolutely pristine condition. The whole engine compartment is pristine, and it's all correct. You're supposed to have black bolts here and cadmium plated bolts back there. There is a scratch right here on the brace bar that goes between the fender and the firewall. There's a little bit of paint that chipped and peeled here. The battery's been replaced a couple of times, and I've had work done on the electrical system to make it reliable and as perfect as I can. Then down, you can't see it, and I can't even find where it is, but there's some paint that peeled underneath the battery box. There is a little chip right here about 1/16 of an inch wide and half an inch, 3/8 of an inch long, maybe half an inch. Otherwise, everything else on the outside is absolutely perfect. Not a chip in the car. And, oh yes, two-time Grand National first prize winner, Antique Automobile Club of America. This is probably the finest example of a 1964 Thunderbird that there is. Samoan coral was the most unpopular color in 1964, and so they made very, very few of them. My theory is that corals and salmons were very hot in the 50s. So by 1964, nobody wanted it. They just thought it looked old, and so nobody ordered it. But this particular color combination of Samoan coral and the white interior, I think, sets off the body lines of a Thunderbird better than anything else. I've racked my brain to try and think of a more beautiful car than this, and all I come up with are the French teardrops from before World War II, and those go for far more than $1 million a piece. And so after World War II, I literally think that this is the most beautiful car made, and it's actually this particular car. White interior, Sport Roadster tonneau cover, and the wire wheels. Now I have put wide white walls on this and radials. I have the Silvertown, the stock tires, skinny little Silvertown bias ply tires that handle awful. They are just absolutely horrible tires, but you're welcome to put them back on the car if you want it to be original. It will raise the car up about a ½ inch also, so the car is a little sleeker looking. About actually 3/4 of an inch is how much the car was lowered by adding those tires. Now the interior, I want to point out that there is a bubble underneath the dash here, and I'm told that this can be remolded very easily, but otherwise the interior is pretty much perfect. You could make it could be improved upon a little by having all of the trim wire brushed again. You know, it is 50 years old, so there's a tiny bit of age on it, but it's pretty much in just pristine condition. And look at these door jambs. And everything. There's a back seat in here that wraps around like a booth in a restaurant. That's a hat that I wear sometimes when I'm driving it to keep from getting sunburned. And then here's this car is restored to the original build code. So there's the build code for the car and the VIN number. And the trunk is in pretty much perfect condition also. I'll open it up a little bit so you can, I don't know if this is catching it or not. So, the convertible top, I have some chairs here that are for, and then there's all these pouches. These are all the manuals, and so I have the service manual for the car, all of the most popular Thunderbird resources, and the trunk is absolutely pristine. The paint on the inside of the trunk is pristine. Pretty much just a absolute showroom condition car all around. And this car, I've never seen a car, any car, that attracts women like this car. Have you ever seen women take a picture of a car? They don't. But this car, they stop, they snap a bunch of photos, then they get a friend to, there we go, then they get a friend to take a photo of them posing in front of the car. It's very entertaining. So anyway, that's the disclosure video. I can't think of anything else to tell you about this car other than it's as close to perfect, I think, as you're going to get in a 64 Thunderbird. It's one of the most stylish cars that there is, and it runs great.